Hello YouTube, this is Keith Kevin Ken. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. It's time again for the knife of the day. Each and every day I'm going through my collection, focusing on one knife or one type of knife in my collection. I'm starting with the Spyderco collection that I have. It's pretty extensive. Go check out the playlist of the knife of the day here on this channel. We're over 90 already. Most of those are discontinued knives. I figure we're going to go through not only my Spyderco, but Chris Reeve knives and Browse blades and all kinds of knives, Striders, Hinderers, you name it, case knives. It'll probably be a year and a half. But right now I'm working through my Spyderco collection. This is not a Spyderco series, but I have a big Spyderco collection and I decided to start with that. Today's knife of the day is the second flipper from Spyderco, and that's the Spyderco Domino. The first flipping knife from Spyderco, and again, I just find it amusing. Of course, Spyderco was kind of late to the flipper game, but you could understand why. It's a company founded on the Spidey hole, the one hand opening hole that's just wonderful in all their knives. And so the flipper is another one-handed opening. And so they started with the Southern and then they went with the Domino. Now there's a couple of things about the Domino that we're going to talk about. First of all, we have to talk about this carbon fiber on top of G10. A lot of people figured that was ugly. You know, the first flipper, the Southern, I have that as a knife of the day. Go check out the playlist to see that. That had this ugly brown, and I think it was one of the most pimped out Spyderco knives. Someone commented on that video and said, hey, do you have pimped out knives? I never see pimped out knives. I don't. I love to see them though. I love the creativity and all that. Just depends on how you like to collect. I like to keep mine the way that the person who created it, whether it's a knife company or whatever, has it. But I love people who do pimp out their knives. I think one reason is I have a son, 2 daughters, and 5 grandsons. And so they can pimp out the knives as much as they want once they get my collection. But I want to keep it like it is. But this was pretty ugly. Now, I have to, at this, it's either this knife, the Domino, or the Southern that's the most pimped out Spyderco in the history of Spyderco knives. Now, let me defend the Spyderco Domino and this carbon fiber on top of G10. First of all, I'm 57 years old. I had old school dominoes. Now you can play it on computer. They have all kinds of wacky kinds of dominoes. And you want to know something? The dominoes I grew up with, the cheap ones, had this kind of backing to it. It's the Spyderco Dominoes. Dominoes is a game. Look it up. And so I can understand this. I understand also why people didn't like the color. Now, the one thing about Spyderco is they always look at what their customers are looking at. And so when they saw a knife that people didn't like the color, they were not afraid to pimp their own knives. That's a Domino, blue. Domino, all of these are carbon fiber on top of G10. Nice blue patch. And then a nice red patch. They're all the same Domino, but I love when Spyderco pimps it themselves. They either pimp it for a company or they pimp it and release it themselves. These are the 4 versions of the Domino. Not that some independent person pimped, but that Spyderco pimped. I like that about them. So that's the handle, the ugly Domino handle, which really is a Domino. Backing. I never hear anyone talk about that, but it is. And then, of course, the pimped out versions that Spyderco pimped out themselves. They do that a lot, by the way. They call them variations. They have a lot of variations on their knives. So let's talk about the Domino besides the scales. Of course, we have that carbon fiber on top of G10 on the front. I love when I talk about those knives and people go, they really hate fake carbon fiber. That's fine. I get it. Look, I'm real emotional about forward choils. So I understand when people are emotional about a specific part of a knife. Me, I understand why they do it. In fact, I heard Eric Glesser talk about it. This gives you all of the things you want about carbon fiber without the cost. So people don't like expensive knives either, and that's one reason they do it. But enough of that. The back, all titanium with the Chris Reeve integral frame lock. And I love, starting with the Domino, most of the flippers from Spyderco, most, not all, have the stainless steel insert. Carbon steel against titanium still wins. And so when the lock bar is all titanium, over time it'll wear down and start to travel. And that's why you see a lot of knife makers do this, put a stainless steel insert on the lock bar. Of course, titanium liners, and that's where the G10 and the carbon fiber lays. Just feels good in the hand. It's a perfect size, a wonderful EDC knife. A little bit different than the original Southern, their first knife, which is a bigger knife, a heavier knife. This is just a wonderful piece. It reminds me of the Sage series, except it's a flipper. They have the forward choil, the jimping right there that doesn't make your thumb bleed but gives you a nice purchase. The Spyderco leaf shape. And all of these Dominoes have the Carpenter steel, CTS XHP steel, good steel. 3.1 inches, a little bit over 3 inches. The edge on it is 2.9 inches. It weighs 4.2 ounces. It is a wonderful EDC flipper. It is not discontinued. Even though it's the second flipper, really none of the flippers from Spyderco, I believe, aren't discontinued. They're still available. You should check it out. Very nice flipper. 4-way clip. Up, down, left, right. Just a wonderful flipper. The knife of the day. The second flipper available from Spyderco is the Spyderco Domino with the ugly G10 on top. The ugly carbon fiber on top of G10 that looks like the back of a domino I grew up with. But people didn't like it. You can still find a lot of different scales for the Domino. That, my friends, is the knife of the day. The Spyderco Domino Flipper. If you like this series, Knife of the Day, don't forget to like it, thumb it up, share it, subscribe, and also turn on your notifications as new videos come. I don't want you to lose out on them. Hey, you guys, I really appreciate you watching the videos. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the series. More Knife of the Days coming tomorrow. Whenever you watch this, more will be coming tomorrow. You guys have a perfect day. Keep those pockets full. Goodbye.